Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast presented by Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Roger Strauss. That's Ricky Logan. Today, we're going to bring you the first of what we hope is many interviews of people in the Reds universe, hopefully in the Reds media, players, former players, Reds staff potentially, that we find interesting, and hopefully that you can find interesting and entertaining the interview that we go into their background and then also talk a little bit of Reds baseball with them. We also want to thank Doug and Jordan for this platform, Ohio Sports Talk. We want to bring you this good Reds content throughout the whole 2025 season, and you can find us. Please subscribe at YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can also find us on podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So please subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Ricky, this is going to be our first interview of many. Let's start the show.
Let's go.
This is the Red Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Strauss.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. I'm Roger Strauss. That's Ricky Logan. Today, we're going to be changing it up a bit. We're going to be talking to one of our writing inspirations, one of the guys out there on Reds Twitter that we found that is a must follow at RedsDaily4, a guy that lives and dies with every single second of the Reds. He tweets daily, and it's great stuff, great content every single time. And we wanted to have him on. He's here, and we're honored to have as our first ever guest on the Red Hot Reds podcast, Mr. RedsDaily4, Greg. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's a big time intro, so I'll leave it at that.
Hey, anytime, man. I think you deserve it. Like one of the first follows. I'm no longer. I'm getting off of kind of the social medias, but to be fair, one of the first follows was definitely your account because all the stuff that you go through in such detail, even all the way down to the minor league guys, is. I mean, it's kind of the stuff that Ricky and I kind of aspire to go that deep with the Reds, with your love for the Reds. You know what I mean? So that's why we kind of want to have you on. And just kind of off the bat, just to get you going with this interview, what is your first Reds memory or one of your favorite Reds memories of all time?
Yeah, it's funny. I saw that question from Ricky, and I was like, I think my first memory is we went down. My dad took us to, old Synergy Field. And they had, I always remember in those seats, we called them it was like the red seats, the yellow seats. And then I forget what even color the other seats were. I was just a kid. And we were sitting in the yellow seats, I believe, in the outfield. And for whatever reason, Alex Ochoa was playing right field. And we were just screaming at Alex Ochoa from like the upper deck in Synergy Field just to try to get him to turn around and wave at us. And I couldn't tell you to this day who they were playing, if they won. Again, I was probably 6 years old or less, but me and my older brother at the time, we were just screaming at Alex Ochoa in right field, just trying to get him to turn around and acknowledge us. And just looking back at that, it's pretty funny. I mean, just kids being kids, right? But that's kind of my first, I think, Reds memory that I truly have. The best Reds memory I would probably say would be the Jay Bruce clincher to clinch the division against the Astros. I mean, we haven't had much winning as Reds fans, so that's just one. Tom Brenneman had the call. He hit that thing in the second he hit it. He put his arm in the air and he just knew it was gone. So I think that one probably stands out to me as my best Reds memory.
Yeah, for sure. Those are some good memories. Yeah. Do you remember the transition from Synergy to Great American in like 2003? Like how would that go down? I wasn't around.
I was born in 93, so I was only 10 years old. So I remember it happening, and I remember seeing like on the news they like demolished, they're like, oh, we're going to demolish the thing. And again, I was like 10 years old, so I didn't really understand how that stuff happened back then. So I remember thinking it was cool to just see like the stadium just like collapse. But I don't really remember too much of the transition other than that, just because I was still young. I do think, seeing, Great Americans come a long way, and seeing, they do some good stuff there with the riverboat and the smokestacks, all that kind of stuff. That's always exciting to see when you're a kid. Just It's more than just a baseball park. But yeah, other than that, I don't remember a ton, just because I was young.
Yeah,
I gotta ask you, who was your favorite player growing up, whether it was at Synergy or Great American as a kid? Because me and you were similar age. I was born in '92, so.
Okay, yeah, I would say it had to be Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
that's probably an easy pick that a lot of people pick, but I mean, he was just a star, and it was like I couldn't imagine in today's game if somebody as good as Ken Griffey Jr. got traded to the Reds. It would be like, I mean, it didn't pan out like we wish it would have. He got hurt a ton, but like thinking back of that trade, like how we would react today would be insane to get somebody of that caliber. So it was kind of wild the fact that he was coming to the Reds. I remember his 500th home run really well against the Cardinals. I actually had a poster. We had a poster in our basement that had like his 200, 300, 400, 500th home run, like who it was against, who the pitcher was. And it was cool. I think I remember 600. I think it was against the Marlins. But he was just, I mean, he's an easy pick. Adam Dunn would probably be honorable mention. I was a huge Adam Dunn fan. Very polarizing Reds player. I think if he played in today's game, he would be respected a lot more because you're allowed to strike out in today's game, where back then all Adam Dunn does is hit home runs of strikes out or walks, and strikeouts were like not accepted back then like they are in today's game. But if you look at Adam Dunn's OPS throughout the years, like he was an incredible player. That guy could hit. He was bad defensively, but today's game he could just DH, you know. So those two I would say are who I really, really loved growing up.
Yeah, for sure. Adam Dunn ahead of his time, some might say. You know,
that's right. He was. He truly was ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking for sure that you were going to say Lopez, the shortstop that you got for the your icon on your Twitter handle. I was thinking
Lopez.
Yeah, because Ricky mentioned it like a couple weeks back. He's like, "Oh yeah, we got to talk to Greg because he loves Lopez just as much as I do." I'm like, "Okay, let's get him."
You know, that's a funny story. So it kind of, I think the Reds, when I first, I don't know what it was probably two years ago or so, the Reds went through like, I think they were on like a big losing streak. And I don't even remember what my profile picture was before, but I was like, I was kind of trolling. I was like, let me just pick a random player. And I saw an awesome Alejo Lopez picture, and I was like, this is awesome. And then it was like right when the Blue X came out on Twitter or whatever. And I had it. So I didn't know. I was like, well, they said you can get paid if you have like whatever, certain followers and stuff. So I was like, I'll try this out. And what happened when you changed the profile picture, it was like it went away and all of your statistics or whatever wouldn't count until it was back. And it was like 3 or 4 days where it was gone. And I was like, so none of this engagement stuff is counting towards whatever. I make like $10 off of Twitter every month.
Right.
But I remember when it was new, I was like, what's happening? I changed my profile picture. I was like, can people even see what I'm putting out there? And then I just was like, I guess I'm the Alejo Lopez guy now, because I don't think I can change it now. People will be like, who's he changing it to? So
you'd have to like announce it.
Yeah, I know. There's still people to this day that think like that's me. Like, and like, I'm like, that's definitely not me. It's going to be like 10 years from now. It's going to be Alejo Lopez, and nobody's going to have any clue who it is.
We're going to have to go watch your YouTube channel for sure to find out that's actually not you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it very well could be. I did a little bit of digging, if you don't mind. I think you went to St. Mary's Memorial for high school, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And you played baseball there, right?
I did, yeah.
Take us back to high school, Greg. High school at St. Mary's. Actually, small anecdote. I was going up to Grand Rapids this past weekend and drove past your high school on Highway 33.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, I know someone that went there. But beside that, how was your high school career? Did you fall in love with baseball, as a child and wanted to always play? Like, take us through, I guess, your youth and your relationship with baseball.
Yeah, it was always my favorite sport. And I was always a Reds fan from like a kid. Like back when I was a kid, they would have, it was still when like Fox Sports Ohio would have they would have most of the games on, but not every game. So it would be like maybe 2 out of every 3 games would be on TV. But I would always watch, like even from a kid, which I think is pretty rare. Especially for baseball. Baseball is not really a sport that a lot of people get locked into, I feel like, compared to the others. But and then I grew up playing it. I played literally T-ball, minor league, little league, pony league is what we called right before high school, club ball, then all the way up through high school. And I almost went to college to play it in like a D3 school up Bluffton. Do you guys know where Bluffton is?
Yeah.
I took a visit there, and the coach was like, you have to commit to like 4 hours of practice a day. And I was like, I hated practice. So I was like, I don't think I want to go somewhere this small just to play baseball. But yeah, so I played throughout high school. I was second baseman most of the time through high school. I had the funny story while we're talking about it. I had the throwing yips from second base, which is incredible. How you have the throwing yips from second base. Like I would go to practice and like I could throw from shortstop. I could throw from third, but like I'd get at second base and I couldn't throw. But I was hitting the best on our team my junior year. So they would DH me, and actually I would DH for our catcher, who was like one of my best friends. And he hated it so much because he was back there catching and he wanted to get the hit. So I had to get the hit for him, which was actually awesome. Like, cause I'm like, I don't really care for playing the field that much, but I just get to sit in here and eat sunflower seeds and then go hit, which is the best part of the game. And then senior year, I kind of struggled a little bit compared to my junior year. And they played me all over for whatever reason. Or he had the coach. Well, it was the coach's son played second base, so that's the actual reason, which was always fun. But yeah, it was good. I've just been a diehard baseball fan my whole life, and yeah, ever since I was a kid, I've really loved baseball. So that's kind of how it's went.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever pimp any home runs like Will Benson did tonight?
No, dude. So I'm bigger now than I was when I was a high school player. Like, I don't know. I probably weighed like 170 in high school. So I was very much like, I was almost like a slap hitter. Like I would never strike out, but singles and doubles all day, And like, I'd have some of the stupid hits where like, almost like Jacob Hurtubise, where you're like, how'd that ball fall? Like a blue single, like you swing, you made contact on a pitch that you probably shouldn't have, or a pitch that was out of the strike zone. So I'd always be like top of the order, like 1-2. But yeah, never had any power, which is funny because I played in a softball league down here a couple years back, and I was hitting home runs, and these guys are like, dude, you're unbelievable. And I was like, dude, I've never hit home runs in my life. Like this is, I don't know. I guess I just need to put on some fat and I could hit some home runs, I guess. But yeah, no, like I think all of my life, like throughout high school, I think I hit one home run, and I think it was in Little League. So I never had any power. In fact, some of the coaches joked that I'd have warning track power. So I was never a power hitter. I wish I was. I would have probably pimped them if I could have.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That'd be an incredible feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure. So yeah.
So
go ahead,
Ron.
No,
I was just gonna ask. So how did Reds Daily come about? Like, what was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so I don't even know what year I started it now. Probably, I don't know, 4 years ago or so. I would just tweet stuff about the Reds on my own account, and like, I just had like my friends following me, and I'm like, did nobody care? Nobody that I'm tweeting to. It was before like Elon took it over, and it was like a For You page. So like, really, you were only tweeting to your followers. So like, I would like tweet stuff about the Reds or like complain about the Reds, and I'm like, no, literally nobody cares. The girls in my high school or like my friends in high school do not care that I'm tweeting about the Reds. So I'm like, what am I doing? So I just randomly was like, let me just try to create like a Reds account and follow some random, other Reds accounts. So actually, I can interact with people who are watching the game same game, and then from there, that's kind of how it started. And then just messed around with different things and interacting with different people, and that's how it started. I mean, I would have never guessed it's gotten to where it's gotten today. It's pretty crazy. But it's been very cool. I mean, it's very cool. I know, Ricky, that's how you and I got to interact all the time. And like, it's very cool to have like that community of people, like even that you never met in real life, but you feel like, because, you talk Reds baseball all the time. So it's been very cool. But yeah, that's how it started. I was tweeting nobody from my own personal account. So I just created a Reds account and started following other Reds accounts essentially.
Yeah, that's kind of how mine was. I've had my X account since like 2009. And I think I just started posting like a year and a half ago. And I'm like, no one's seeing this. and then like, you find out like there's people that, like you that actually cover the team, and you're like, hey, like my tweet, holy cow, or like, you know, just random stuff like that. And you're like, I feel like it's almost like a family in a weird way, like with Reds baseball. Cause like, I look forward to seeing your tweet like first thing in the morning. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning and I go to work at 4. So like, when your tweet pops through, I'm like, all right, the day started.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you need to get to sleep, Ricky. My gosh.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Reds
no,
score
that's
by
what's cool.
far.
That's what's cool about it. Yeah, it's just like you're talking with you. It's like you're talking with friends. You're talking about the same thing. I always say, like, as much as people complain about Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, like, there's nothing better than when you're watching the same thing that everybody else is watching on Twitter, or like the Super Bowl or March Madness, or like, it's just awesome to be able to like see everyone else's thoughts of, because you know you have thoughts, so just to be able to see what everyone else is thinking. But yeah, it's been cool for sure.
And I think we could all agree, Reds Twitter
Yeah, I
way
always joke.
better than Reds Facebook. Like,
Yes.
Oh man.
Reds Facebook is like, you go on there
Could
for
you
like
imagine
comedic
Reds
relief.
Facebook?
It's
Yeah,
so good.
Reds Facebook when Bruce hit that walk off, it would have been, oh, if he didn't strike out, you know,
Yeah,
Team
it would have
Bob.
been something stupid.
yeah, it's that place is one of a kind. That's for sure.
So then did covering the team come after that? Like for SI, like how much later from your Twitter kind of blowing up, the Reds Daily account kind of blowing up, did you get into kind of covering the team on a daily basis?
Yeah, just midway through last year really is when James reached out for me from Sports Illustrated, CincinnatiRedsTalk.com, and just asked if I would write some articles. And it's funny, I joke with him all the time about this now. Is I was like, yeah, I could do it. Like I was telling you guys off the air, I never really liked writing growing up. You can send out tweets all day, they're like 50 characters, but writing, I was like, that sounds terrible. But I think I told him I like committed to like 2 articles a week, and it's like these days, if I don't do 2 articles a day, it's surprising. So him and I joke about that all the time now. But yeah, it was last year, I don't know, probably May or June. So it hasn't even been a year yet, but it's been awesome. James is awesome to work with, and it's been cool. I mean, the site's grown a good amount, and I think if the Reds can be good for once, I think it's only going to take off more. It's tough when the Reds lose all the time. Not as many people want to come out of the woodwork and follow them. So I'm hoping for a big year this year, and it just kind of keeps progressing. So.
Yeah, I think we're wishing the same, because that's kind of we you know, I caught the bug, probably the 2023 bug is when I started interacting with Ricky on Reds Twitter and yourself as well, as I was following it back then. So like it's I guess I'm all in some respects, and hopefully this year is up and away. But yeah,
we're due for it.
Oh,
sure.
Man,
For sure.
You have the World Series article in the drafts.
Yeah, I don't, but I don't even know. I don't know if I could write that. I would be so excited. Like James would
It'd be like a bunch of
yeah. James would have to edit the whole thing. He's like, Greg, what did you write? Like, did you take shots like in the 8th inning? Like, yeah, I don't know what I would do. I'd have to speech to text it or something like that.
Would that even work? I'd be too excited.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be too excited. Actually, I probably wouldn't actually write a word until like the Reds could be up 14-2 with 2 outs in the 9th, and I would be like, they're going to blow this. They're going to blow it. I wouldn't write the first word. Like usually when I do takeaways after every game, I try to like have most of it like the 7th inning, which usually works out decently unless they like blow it in the 9th and it's a disaster. But like if it was World Series, like I would not touch the first word. I wouldn't write the word "the" until there's 3 outs in the 9th.
Yeah. Yeah, it was playoff drafts are probably first, Ricky, before we get to those World Series drafts.
Right. That's right.
They're all there.
Yeah, one after another. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, and just transitioning back to kind of a more personal question, we can see in your background, it looks like you have some Augusta flags up there. How long you've been playing golf? Is it your second love behind baseball? Is it kind of, does it fight for first place for in between baseball? Like how is how's golf life for you?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I like you said, I went to St. Mary's High School, which is very small. Like for people that don't know St. Mary's, it's like a population of like 8,000 people. And basically, like if you want to play a high school sport, you can just play it. So like I never played golf growing up. My older brother played golf. My dad played golf. My dad was actually the high school golf coach. And I played soccer all growing up because soccer's in the fall up there, golf's in the fall up there. And like 2 weeks before the season, I knew I didn't want to play soccer as my freshman year, so I wasn't going to play any sport in the fall. And then like 2 weeks before the season started, I was like, oh, let me try to play golf. And literally, like, you're just on JV because they don't have the numbers to like kick people, have cuts, you know. So I just got to play in matches and be awful for my first 2 years. And then by my junior year, I got pretty decent. Senior year, I played a decent amount. I didn't play a ton in college. And then I interned with the junior golf tour out of college, where we basically like traveled the East Coast and worked tournament to tournament. And that's kind of where I fell in love with golf again. And then I worked at a course in Augusta, not Augusta National, I wish. But worked there for 2.5 years. Our GM at the time got to play. Our head pro got to play Augusta National. They both got to play, got the invites. I never got to play. I got to go, I think 4 times in my 2.5 years there, which was pretty cool. It's one of those places, like I almost thought I'd be too hyped up because what you hear about it. Yeah. But you walk on there and like the driving range is like better than any golf course you've ever set foot in your entire life. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't play near as much anymore. I mean, depends what people think is a lot, but probably, I don't know, once maybe a month in the season, once every couple months maybe. I'm like the Monday through Friday job now, and on the weekends I'm like, I don't really want to go play a 5-hour round of golf. So, but I still like it. I actually kind of work in golf in my normal job, like for a company that manages golf courses. So, I still like it. Yeah, it's great. I've gotten to play some cool courses over the years, so it's been good.
Yeah, one of those courses, which I think I might have misidentified, was the Upper Deck golf experience. I thought from the pictures that I saw, it was for Great American, because last year I think they had the one at Great American, and I went with my father-in-law to do that one for the Upper Deck. And I'm terrible at golf, and he's kind of a regular, so he was kind of showing me everything, and it was an interesting experience. Where did you do your Upper Deck golf experience?
I did it down here in Atlanta, near at the Brave Stadium.
Okay. And
I don't know if it was Upper Deck. It might have been a company very similar. They do the same thing. But yeah, super cool. You go grab some drinks we had a group of like 10 or 12 guys. All grab some drinks. We just walk around there, hit some. It's like golf secondary, really. You're just hitting balls on the field, and like it's a social thing. It was actually kind of cold here, which it's, Georgia's not supposed to be very cold, but it was cold here when we did it. But it's always cool. I mean, especially when it's at night and it's lit up. It's a cool experience for sure. It's almost like a Top Golf feel. Like I always tell people, like it's not intimidating like going out on the golf course. It's more like a Top Golf feel where you have fun,
Yeah. So go ahead, Rick.
Oh no, go ahead. You keep going.
I guess the Upper Deck for Great American must have been different. We did ours during the day, and they made us walk around the whole stadium. So by the time we got to the 18th one, we're like just dead tired because we're just like walking in the sun, like just trying to like not fall or look down too far and fall into like Great American ballpark. So
ours was only 9 holes. I think ours was only 9 holes.
Yeah, then maybe that's why we were a bit more tired. We did maybe a double round, and yeah, like I said, my father-in-law is kind of golf crazy, but yeah, that's still cool. I think it is a lot more like Top Golf, where you kind of just testing to see where you can place the ball. But yeah,
it's more like, hey, I went and hit golf balls in a baseball stadium type of thing.
Yeah, for the fun, for the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. It's not on our notes. You went to University of Cincinnati. How did Georgia come about?
Yeah, good question. So to get in the golf business, essentially, like I said, I worked. My major was sports administration, and I worked in the student sports information department as like a student worker for my last 2 years in there. So I'd work like all the basketball games, lacrosse games, football games, all that kind of stuff. And we had to basically have a capstone as our last semester, instead of taking classes, we basically had to go, do something in the field, and it didn't count to go like work at Dick's Sporting Goods. Like they wouldn't say that counts as working in sports.
Yeah.
So that's where I got a job at our internship, essentially it's called Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. Literally, I'll tell you a quick story about it. I flew down to Jacksonville. That's where their headquarters were. At the time, they were in like 11 states. I think they're like almost national now. Flew down to Jacksonville that morning from Ohio. We had like it was supposed to be a 4-hour orientation. They condensed it to a 2-hour orientation so we could pack up the van with 7 guys and start driving to New Jersey. So I flew from Ohio to Jacksonville for a 2-hour orientation to hop in a van with 7 guys and start driving to New Jersey with 7 dudes literally I just met. So that from there, essentially, halfway through the summer, I realized I was enjoying golf and I wanted to kind of work in golf. So I just started reaching out to all the courses that we had tournaments at. And that's how I connected with my boss, who was my boss in Augusta at a place called Forest Hills Golf Course. And she was pretty much like, we'll start you low, but if you show like you're good, we'll quickly work your way up. So that's how I started. And then I worked there for 2.5 years and then got a job with the management company I work with now over in Atlanta. So that's kind of how it came to be. But yeah, I knew nobody in Augusta. I moved there when I was like 21. My parents was like, what are you doing? So kind of a cool story, but it's worked out. So.
Well, it's good you survived that bus trip with 7 dudes just going up the East Coast.
I always tell people, I'm like, if we didn't get along, that would have been the worst summer ever. But luckily we had 7 good dudes, and it was we made it fun.
Oh, that's awesome. It was a good experience there. That's
yeah.
Awesome. All right. One last thing before we really launch into our Red stuff. I saw also a year ago about this time, maybe a little earlier, you went with Chatterbox to spring training for the Reds. You got any good stories, appropriate stories maybe? Or, anything about spring training that you learned or saw from the team, or how they go about business and whatnot, or just, any fun stuff that
nothing too crazy. It was fun. I mean, it was a blast. I was awesome that they had me out there. At the time, I was just helping them with some social media stuff. And Trace was like, dude, just come out here. We went to the NASCAR race in Phoenix was out there when we were out there, which was pretty cool. We had like pit passes. One of their listeners was just like, he works like a high executive in Fox and just like hooked us up, which was cool. Spring training out in Arizona is always just a blast. It's honestly one of those things, like I wish I could go out every year and just like spend a week. It's just a fun experience. I think one thing about spring training that a lot of people don't realize is like some of the stadiums will like sell out. Like the Giants, the Cubs, like they'll sell out spring training games, which I think the common fan that like hasn't been out there probably just assumes like, oh, you can just go out there and sit on the lawn and there'll be 12 people there. But like they get fans. Like, and it's in some, like, it's not like all ticket. Like you can buy tickets for up to like $30-$40 if you want good seats, which is good and bad. But and then we made a quick trip to Vegas out there when we were out there, and I love Vegas. Vegas is just like one of those fun places for me that I've probably been 4 or 5 times now. But it's just, I feel like whenever you're in Vegas, it's a different reality. You almost feel like you're not on this planet sometimes. But yeah, no, spring training overall, like it's just, I love spring training. Like honestly, I wish maybe someday I can make it that thing where I just want to go every year, because I love it out west in general, but like we played golf out there actually too, which was just awesome to use and whatnot. But yeah, I just love spring training. It's always a blast. So, but no crazy stories or anything. Not the. I do have one in the back of my mind, but I think Elliot would kill me if I told it. So
he's coming on here. I'll let him. I'll let him back it up.
Yeah. You can say Greg said there was a story that he wanted to tell, but he won it because he said you'd get mad, and he'll know what it is. So he can decide if he wants to tell it or not.
Yeah, or you can tell us off air, or,
Yeah.
Figure it out. You know what I mean? Well, that's cool. Yeah. And did you go to the Vegas Knights games with them? I think they went to a hockey game, right, in Vegas?
No, they went to a hockey game. They went on the way to Vegas, or on the way to Phoenix. They went to I think it was an Avalanche game.
Oh, Colorado.
That's right. Yeah.
So I wasn't there yet. I met them in Phoenix. So.
Okay. I just heard good things about Vegas Knights. It's like a show.
Yeah, I have been to a Knights game. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
It's really cool. Yeah.
how was that? Like, is it
It's
like
really cool? Yeah, they do it ridiculous. Like the intro is really cool. They're good, so the crowd's always packed. Yeah, it's a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I've heard good things. That's awesome. But yeah, pivoting now, let's think about the 2025 Red Legs. All right, I know you're a diehard Reds fan. I guess my first question before we talk about the team exactly, like Greg, what kind of Reds fan do you classify yourself? Are you like an ever optimist? Are you a cynical pessimist that it's always raining in Cincinnati? Like how would you classify yourself on the spectrum of Reds fan?
I would say I'm more of an optimist. I think probably before I had like a following on Twitter, I was probably more I don't think I was pessimistic, but I was more pessimistic than I am now. I think I see so many negative tweets now that I'm like, please, it makes me not be that way. And I probably just got older and matured, and I try not to be like the negative Nancy. But I get it. I mean, people that want to be like that, like it's been bad. The Reds have made the playoffs once since 2000. They've made the playoffs once since like 2013, and it was the COVID year, and we didn't score a run. So like there hasn't been a lot to cheer about. But I try to be optimistic, especially at the beginning of the year. Like I'm not going to be the one that the season's coming and be like, oh, opening day is here, time to be negative, and just there's no point in that. I don't know why you watch the team if you're that way, but so I think I'm more optimistic. I can be pessimistic at times for sure, but I think I am more optimistic. Now, saying that, I will say the Dayton Dragons tonight just took a 6-5 lead on the Reds. So maybe the Reds are done. Maybe
it's over.
The Facebook people are going to have a day with that one. The minor league team beat the major league team.
Oh, gosh.
Who's pitching?
Yeah.
No, all the minor leaguers are playing for the major league team right now. So that's what it's even more confusing. Like Lyon Richardson's pitching right now for the Reds.
Is that right? Oh, jeez. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Can't wait to see Reds Facebook tomorrow. This is going to be
I got to search it. There's going to be a couple of good ones if they actually lose. There's going to be some gold ones of people like haven't watched the game that had no clue. Minor leaguers were playing after like the 5th inning. It's going to be awesome.
It just said Noelvi Marte singled up the middle, scored a run.
Nice.
Is he playing for the big league club or the Dragons?
No, the minor league.
The prospect team.
Okay. So he's trying to get a spot back. So that's
Yep. Will Benson, Noelvi Marte revenge game.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because like Reds Facebook and really Twitter is so negative on Will Benson and Noelvi Marte. Understandably so for Marte to some degree. I can't give up on the kid. I'm like his biggest fan on Twitter, and I'm almost like you. I almost want to change my picture to him just to see if it sticks. But like forgive and forget is how I feel. Like in my mind, Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. But like, do you think like what's your outlook on like Marte? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think he can get it back going, or do you think he's just cooked? Because Reds Facebook thinks he should be traded.
Yeah, I don't think he's cooked, and I don't. You can't give up on him. I mean, he's played essentially a little less than a year in the majors. He was really good 2 years ago. Last year, he was really bad when he came back. He's still. I forget who tweeted it. I would credit them. I saw it somewhere today, and it might be Reds fan Brandon. I think on Twitter. I think that's who it was. He said Noelvi Marte is still like way younger, or still younger than the average age of the player at AA. Which, like, if you put that in perspective, like he was playing well, and he got pushed up so fast, and then he hit 316 in 2023, and everyone just thought, and then
that's who he is.
And then the steroid thing happens, and then they just gave people an excuse to be mad, which again, I understand being mad. And then it just, after he got back, he sucked, and people were like, oh, he's only good because of steroids. So it's just kind of piled up on him. I honestly think like it's a confidence thing with him to a degree. Like he has the ability, we've seen it. And the fact that like he was even struggling in Louisville last year just tells me like he's kind of lost something, or maybe something's wrong mechanically. I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely not giving up on him. He's still too young to give up on. But I will say the longer it goes on, I'm just praying it's not like another the Jose Barrera thing, because I was like Barrera with that. Like I kind of didn't give up on him, and I was like, he's going to go back down to AAA and figure it out, and then he just never figured it out. Although I think he might have gotten a job with the Cardinals and actually might make the opening day roster this year, which is kind of crazy. I think that just kind of says how bad the Cardinals might be this year. But anyway, yeah, I can't give up on him. I'm with you. I'm really high on him, and if he can be anything like he was in 2023 or plays to his potential, like, it makes the ceiling of this Reds team for this year and upcoming years so much higher.
Yeah, sure. People forget that when he got called up, he really wasn't supposed to come up yet. Like a lot
he was
of
out of nowhere.
Like the beat writers like Sheldon and stuff were like, yeah, he might come up in 24. Like you could maybe see him, but he really shouldn't be there yet. And he came up and he just hit well. He
didn't get called up to AAA until like CES and all those guys got called up to the majors.
Yeah.
So he was only at AAA for, I feel like, a month or two, if that. And then, when I remember when he got called up, everyone was kind of in shock. And then he played well there.
Yeah, for sure. What I guess excites you for 2025 for the Reds and or concerns you at this point? I know we've gotten a bunch of news about guys getting on the IL. We got a bunch of guys that are hitting really well in spring training, and hopefully we'll bring that up, north with us and see it on Thursday. But like, what you can go either way. What excites you right now, or what kind of concerns you at this point?
I'll try to go quick, and I'll give you one of each. I'll say Ellie obviously always excites me, but that's the lame answer because everyone says that. I'm going to say Christian Encarnacion Strand, I think, will have a big year. I think he struggled last year, and I think he played like 10 games with a broken wrist, apparently, which, again, I know people can joke on the Reds medical staff, but that was crazy. I'm even optimistic towards that, or I'm even pessimistic towards some of that stuff that goes on sometimes. But I think it was just like he wasn't playing great at the beginning of the year. Then he had the wrist issue, and then he just didn't play the whole year. But I think he can be a guy that hits 25 to 30 home runs. So if he can do that, like, that would be incredible. So I say I'm excited to watch Christian Encarnacion Strand, because much like I said with Marte, if he ever plays to his potential, if Encarnacion Strand could be that guy that hits 25, 30 home runs for this Reds team, like, the ceiling goes way up, because that's what they missed last year. And then what I'm worried about, I would say, I don't know what I'm worried about. I guess I would say that just starting the season off normally, it feels like year after year, this team just gets off to bad starts, and I'm a little worried about that with all the injuries. I wrote a little bit of an article about it this morning about just like you have Spencer Steer on the IL, Tyler Stevenson on the IL. Like, those are two guys that like are two of the most consistent guys in the lineup. They may not be like the high ceiling, but like what you're getting. You're going to get consistent at bats out of those two guys. So taking them out of the lineup, like that's tough. And I know people want to say, yeah, but we got Jose Trevino, which he's great defensively, but he's pretty bad offensively. So like you have a big gap in the lineup having to play him every day. So I would say that's my biggest worry. I don't worry too much about Andrew Abbott. It sounds like he's going to miss one start, maybe, and then be back. And then Alexis Diaz, that could be a blessing in disguise with how he was pitching in spring training. He just needs to figure stuff out. He's kind of, he doesn't throw strikes anymore, which for whatever it's worth, like when he was pitching well. And, I remember I was talking with Clay about it. And when he first got called up, like, he would just be lights out 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, like every inning. And now it seems like it's the first three batters he faces, it's like 3-0, 3-1, 3. It's like, dude, you gotta pound the strike zone and then use your stuff but I don't know. So I'm not too worried. I don't think Alexis Diaz, I think the Reds, have a deep enough bullpen to kind of not miss him too much. And it makes sense to get him right. But I think I'm more worried about Tyler Stevenson and Spencer Steer starting the season on the IL.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Those two guys, positive WAR guys last year. You hate to have them out, especially after a really good year out of Stevenson with his improved defense as well, for sure. All right, those are big misses. I agree with that.
Yeah, I guess one last thing before we get you out of here. I think it was. Forgive me if I'm miscrediting. I think it was Austin Elmore. Is that his name? Wrote a piece about opening day that Francona can be the second manager since like 2005 to win his debut on opening day. So, what is your David Bell was actually the last manager to win opening day on his debut. So,
Nice.
what is your prediction for opening day?
Oh gosh. Well, I haven't thought about this for 1 second. Honestly, I haven't thought about a prediction, but I'll go off the cuff. I'm going to say I can't get on here and say the Reds are going to lose. So they're definitely not going to lose. They're facing Logan Webb, who I feel like he's just a solid pitcher. He never gives up a million runs. So I'm going to go with a Reds win. We'll go 4-3. 4-3 Reds win. I think Hunter Green will pitch well. He's really come on at the end of spring training. I'm not too scared of like the Giants lineup. So we'll go with the pitcher's duel, and the Reds come out on top 4-3.
And your closer?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna say I think it's gonna be Taylor Rogers or Emilio Pagan. I think it would be. I know people have said like Ashcraft or Santillan, but they just never done it. So I don't think I'd be surprised with a manager like Francona to go in, opening day. Here's somebody that's never closed out a game. So Rogers and Pagan have both done it. I would say Francona goes Rogers. I think I would probably choose Pagan, but honestly, I'd be fine with either of those two.
Yeah, my take on Ashcraft is, I don't think he'll get it out the gate, but I think he could easily earn it by the end of the year. I saw your hot take tweet earlier today. I was like, Ashcraft closer. I don't think it's definitely not going to be an opening day or opening month or even opening half of the season. But I think he's just got that mentality. I've spoken on this show multiple times. He's just like a bulldog. He just, when he's on, he's on. And to get him for an inning of just him 100% max effort, I think he could be a really dominant closer.
That's what's going to be so interesting with him, to see him as a reliever, because he's always thrown so hard, but he's never been a strikeout guy, which is weird. To have a guy that hits 98, and it's like he's not missing bats, and somehow he always gives up like 8 singles, and I'm like, his lines are always weird. So it is going to be interesting to turning him into a 1-inning guy. He can kind of generate some more swing and miss stuff, or can be a little bit more like aggressive. And doesn't have to mix his pitches up through 5 innings, because he's only facing guys one time through the order. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really don't know what to expect him out of the bullpen. I know the other day he went like 3 innings and people were like raving about him, but I was like, even that wasn't a true 1 inning. He went out there and basically pitched 3 innings, which is what he was doing when he was starting at the beginning of spring training. So I think that's an intriguing storyline of what will Graham Ashcraft be out of the bullpen, and will they pitch him as a 1-inning guy? Could they use him as like a Nick Martinez last year, where he comes in and gives the Reds multiple innings? So that's a storyline in itself. Yeah, I think that'll be something super interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hopefully he could do something big for the club, because he definitely, we've talked about, and Ricky's got his take in that he's going to be that closer. So he's sprinkled a little on there to get his take out there, to hopefully Ashcraft will get 40 saves this year and shut them all down, and wrap up the division and all that good stuff. So
yeah, for sure. And I'll say one more thing is, think of, if nothing else, think of the depth of the Reds pitching staff, how far they've come with Graham Ashcraft's in the bullpen now, and you have Carson Spires, Andrew Abbott, Rhett Lauder, you basically have Wade Miley, who's going to be ready in May. You basically have 9 guys, not including Graham Ashcraft, that you can feel like can go out there and get you a win. So if nothing else, that should just say the state of the Reds went and got pitching this offseason, which should be a good thing. Let's just pray the guys can stay healthy.
No openers, please. That's my take.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, Ed, Greg, it's been great. We really appreciate your time and your knowledge, and going back a little bit in history about yourself and how you got started and got into this point where you are today. Go find Greg at RedsDaily4 and Reds Talk SI. He's also got his own stuff at Queen City Sports, so check him out. He puts out good content and gets out a great interview with Clay Snowden recently, so check that out on his Queen City Sports site. Ricky, you got anything before we say goodbye?
No, I just really appreciate you coming on here, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
No, thank
Go
you.
Reds.
Absolutely. Go Reds.
Thank you for watching the Red Hot Reds podcast, presented to you by Ohio Sports Talk.